Good evening, and welcome to this meeting of Westminster's Mayor and Common Council. The council meets here at City Hall on the second and fourth Mondays of every month. Please note that council meetings, although open to the public here at City Hall, are also available and streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center channel and website. Now I'll begin as we do every meeting with the pledge to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As a courtesy to everyone, please take a moment to silence your cell phones or any other device you have with you that might somehow interrupt the meeting. Thank you. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information pack that the council will be using are available online on the city's website. Copies of the agenda are available here in the front of the room for those who are with us in person. We have two presentations that are on the agenda tonight, but we also, as we often do, have a representative from McDaniel College with us. Dr. Jaskin took over as president of the college. She promised that she would try to have somebody from her senior staff attend as many meetings as possible, share with us some information on what's happening up on the Hill, and be able to take back what's happening here in the city. So tonight, we're pleased to have the Associate Provost for Equity and Belonging, Richard Smith, with us. Provost Smith, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Anything you'd like to share with us?
I'm just gearing up for graduation, so so you'll see a lot of excitement around the campus. Gear up. Thank you.
Very good. A big class this year, right?
It is.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we have two other presentations this evening, which we'd like to share. First, we have our new representative from Ting, Catherine Rice. She is the Regional Community Engagement and Public Affairs Manager for Alexandria and for Westminster. So we're pleased to have you with us, Ms. Rice, and thank you for coming.
Good evening, everybody. As I've just been introduced, I am Catherine Rice, and I am the Regional Community Engagement Manager now for Alexandria and Westminster. But let me say first that I know that it was typically Vicki Slinkman who stood before you to provide these quarterly briefs. And from the moment I met Vicki last year, she struck me as a dynamic person, sensitive, fun, somebody who gave her all to both Westminster and Ting to strengthen both the community and Ting as a company. We all stand on the shoulders of people like Vicki in our efforts to make the world a better place. And I can tell you that she is missed dearly and greatly. And we all know that nothing but great things are going to come in your future. So,
We agree to you. Thank you.
yes. So for my part, to introduce myself a little bit, I'm a 14-year resident of Alexandria. I started with Ting in September of 2022, which was a week before Ting started micro-trenching in Alexandria. Prior to that, for 20 years, I was a consultant only in the public sector, mainly in North Carolina for rural communities to help educate them on the importance of bringing fiber optics to their community for every opportunity in the world. That included drilling a lot of legislators who didn't seem to understand the importance of fiber infrastructure. One of the highlights of my life was actually serving as a grassroots lobbyist, unplanned, because I was working with the first municipal fiber deployment in North Carolina, a small town called Wilson. Very poor, but had a long history of public infrastructure development. And we worked together to fight against legislation that was pretty much sponsored by the multi-billion-dollar incumbents. We beat it back for 4 years and then we lost. But by that time, Wilson was grandfathered. During that same tenure, I was also the project director of an organization called CLIC, Coalition for Local Internet Choice. And because of that, I learned a lot about Westminster. We were putting on these national conferences, and a woman named Joanne Hovis was working, I think at the time, with Westminster, Jim Ballard. And so every time we had a national conference, it was no matter where it was, typically in Texas, they'd haul out Robert Wack out to Texas and taught everything about what an amazing project was going on here in Westminster. So for me, it's an honor tonight, not only to be here and to finally see Westminster that I heard about for 10 years, but also to continue to tell you about the success of your system. This is a slide that's all familiar to you. The gist of it is that you are now at 48% penetration, which is a really strong number at almost 10 years across all your different phases. I put together this slide because it gives you a sense of the upward acceleration of your subscriber base. Basically, from March of last year to March of this year, you've experienced about an 8% increase. You have a lot more subscribers that you can get a hold of, which talks about the marketing review. Probably the most important thing about this slide is to introduce you to people who will be focused with me on Westminster. You may have already met Miriam Garland, who's the Senior Manager of Field Marketing for the East Coast. But Irena Laster will be the new Marketing Manager overseeing Westminster. I work with her now in Alexandria. She's a joy and a delight to work with. Other than that, a little bit about the Q1 acquisition campaign. Between March and April, there was a campaign that went out targeting about 3,200 of your serviceable addresses. They were able to get about a 1% conversion rate, which I think it was about 28 people. That's a great campaign. And for this next quarter, they're going to do the same thing. Haven't gotten any pictures of it yet. But between May and June, they're going to target again 3,200 serviceable addresses, and I'm hoping for the same 1% conversion rate. According to our marketing manager, they feel that Westminster has not reached a plateau yet on orders. They think that you will continue to see deeper penetration quarter by quarter and year over year. I think what you're going to see more of, because we're an internet company, you're going to see more focus on social media, a lot more digital targeting. We're an internet company. We want to be able to do that better. In terms of upcoming local sponsorships, we have 3 sponsorships with Magic. One with Spire Girls, the other with the Good Game Festival, and also the Finch Bot program. I'm really excited that we're going to be the supporting cast sponsor for the Carroll County Chamber's 100-year anniversary on September 6th. And with that, just to repeat that despite all the changes that have happened, Ting remains completely and fully committed to the town of Westminster. And I'm here for questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Rice? So I do, nobody else does. So I'm excited about, having the new marketing manager come visit us. As you're aware, there's some competition in the community right now. And I think it's critical that we move quickly to try and capture, the rest of those folks who have not signed, particularly in the last 2 phases where, I think there's still a tremendous opportunity. And Mr. Depot, I think, I don't want to assign tasks to your staff, but I think it'd be great if we get her together with Melissa Thorne, who I think is very creative and very capable in this way and could really help out. And anybody else that you and Ms. Impulse think would make sense. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity here. And, I think we've really got to go all in to right now to make sure that we make a big marketing push before any of these other new competitors have a chance to take. So let's just make a big push right now. So if we could let us know when she'll be caught up to you,
Yes,
we'll look forward to that.
yeah, she just got this role last week, so.
So we'll give her another.
We talked once. But, as part of this restructuring, we're actually under the sales team now. So both of our foci are the same on this. We are really set on getting sales.
Anything else? Well, thank you very much for the.
Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Right, and now, we usually couple our King quarterly update and our Magic quarterly update, and usually that's done by Graham Dodge, the executive director of Magic, but we're very pleased tonight to have Vicki Smith in a different role here tonight.
Thought you were getting rid of me.
No. And actually, hopefully we were, we're very pleased to have you with us. In fact, tell Graham you're always welcome. We'll take you over, Graham. My comment was, Graham can't make them always welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. There are other members of the executive board who are available to present in the case that he has another conflict, but he does send his regards. He typically would not miss this meeting, but he is at the kickoff dinner for a new entrepreneurial incubator called Startup Lab, which we'll chat about a little bit further in the presentation. But thank you for having me. It's always good to be here and always good to see you. And I'm joined by Kim Samuelson, who is the program director for Magic, who can help me with any questions that might be a little bit more in the weeds. So we'll jump into our Q3 progress report. So the first two slides we just like to cover are our vision and our model of success, just for anyone who is not fully initiated to Magic. So our Magic vision is summarized by the hashtag Silicon Main Street. And we are creating a technology-driven economic development plan for Westminster. We do that by reversing the flow of commuters, creating net positive job growth, increasing city revenue, and ultimately creating a sandbox infrastructure for technology and innovation. So our inputs for this are students and the workforce, entrepreneurs and startups, sponsors and funding, industry volunteers and mentors, and then what we are outputting is economic and workforce development, startup acceleration, and angel investing syndication. So to go into our accomplishments for Q3, so we held our STEP Challenge in February, and you might recognize that was formerly called Magic's Hackathon, but we've rebranded it to the STEP Challenge, and we had students participate from Anne Arundel, Baltimore, Carroll, Charles, and Howard counties. And we'll share, I have photos of all of these events later in the presentation. We continue to host our robotics club every Saturday through the end of April, and that is run by Ms. Danielson. And it's a great opportunity for students to come and experience robotics. And we continue to host 1 Million Cups, which we're currently holding at Startup Portal. It's every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So if anybody is ever interested in getting introduced to our amazing entrepreneurial ecosystem, please join us. In this past quarter, we had 12 presenters, which is great because sometimes the first quarter of the year can be a little bit slow as people are still kind of in holiday mode. Weather's not great, but we've really seen the community, to continue to come out with just so many fantastic ideas. We hosted our second Chromebook distribution event with the Carroll Technology and Innovation Council. We hosted a team game night for the Boundless Kids Homeschool Co-op. We have purchased Makerspace agreement with the awesome funding from TEDCO, and we were awarded a United Way of Central Maryland grant in the amount of $10,000, which is fantastic. And then we also launched our Tri-County internship for GrowMD, as well as we licensed our Capture the Flag program. So we're kind of redubbing it as CTF in a box. And I've practiced this a million times and I'm probably still gonna mess it up. So if anyone from Catawba, anyone from Catawba College, sorry if I butcher it, but they were the first taker of our CTF in the box idea. So hopefully something that we can use that as a model for success and then license that to other colleges and
If I
universities.
can ask you a quick question, what does the acronym STEP stand for? I assume that's an acronym.
Student,
Please, no.
Student Technology and Entrepreneurial Pitch Challenge. So it's more like a think tank junior
Okay.
process than
So
it
it's
is an
totally
actual.
different than the hackathon then.
Hackathon was always labeled as a misnomer.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
but I found out my way 6 years later, and had it renamed. Wait. Yeah.
All right, so we started to, we're going to start re-including this quarterly KPIs slide. Thank you for your request, Councilmember Hall, which just kind of oversees some numbers in terms of what we look at. And we're continuing to do really well in terms of our media coverage, which actually largely is outside of Carroll County Times. We typically get a lot of great tech related coverage. The area I think where probably you might notice a change from Q1 and Q2 to Q3, and this was anticipated, but the number of sponsors as well as the sponsorship revenue is lower than in previous quarters, but that is solely just based on the fact that we had one event in Q3 as opposed to in other quarters. There typically are more ongoing events, and typically we also have larger sponsorships and sponsorships in kind. So that is nothing to be alarmed by, completely expected. So we want to congratulate our resident teams. We have two robotics teams, Crabotics and Gear Freaks, and they operate outside, or pardon me, they operate out of ARC. They rent space there. Previously, they had other locations outside of Westminster, but they love the ARC space, and we want to congratulate them on completing their first competitive season. This is the aforementioned Tech Titans. They're working here on their VEX robots. We currently have, it's 10 students,
10
right?
students.
Enrolled, and hopefully maybe with more, being able to bring in more instructors, we might be able to grow that number of participants. And then these are photos from the STEP Challenge. So we have our two team winners here. So the first was Code Fetch. So that's an app created by developers for developers, enabling users to consolidate their work into a single system. And then Ghost Stream, which is an app designed to capture the concept of a ghost user, allowing users to share costs for popular streaming platforms. So these are high school and college students who are coming up with these just really amazing ideas and then pitching them to industry experts. And luckily, because of the number of sponsorships that we get, we're able to award these students. It's $500 each. And then, as I mentioned, the Startup Lab, which is a year-long pilot program by Magic to boost STEM startups in Howard County. So all of these fantastic, both mentors and entrepreneurs are at the Magic offices right now. Just and getting to know each other, talk about some of their challenges, and then they will get this entire next year to have access to both the mentors as well as each other to talk about their challenges, talk about funding, talk about their next steps. So they have this access to an amazing variety of resources, and as you can see, it stems everything from entertainment, healthcare, human services, and information technology. And so what is ahead for next quarter? So we will have CTF 16 on Saturday, April 20th. This Sunday, we will be hosting and I want to get this right because I don't know if anybody else is an adult fan of Lego. Has anybody ever heard of this? So Legos are not just for kids. Adults love Legos too. I was always confusing this acronym because I watched a documentary on adult fans of Lego.
The Eiffel Towers and the flowers, architectural Lego.
I have a lovely bonsai tree. That's quite nice. My child purchased it.
A-fall.
Pardon me?
The pronunciation is A-fall.
Thank you. And I'm assuming you are
My
one.
first job was at a Lego store.
Yes. So this is not that, but I do regularly confuse the acronym. So this is the first Lego League Explore Festival that will be at ARC on Sunday, and we already have 42 students and their families planning to attend. I already mentioned the kickoff dinner for Startup Lab. And then next week, sort of this sort of grassroots just started coming together between McDaniel, Startup Portal, Magic, and we're planning to more formalize this and hopefully brand it in the future, but we've started informally calling it Startup Week, where there will be a variety of entrepreneurial support activities throughout the community. So there will be a mixer for the Rural Tech Connect at Raphael's on Wednesday night. And then earlier in the day, Graham will be hosting a really interesting panel on immigrant perspectives on entrepreneurship. I was really surprised to learn this. It's something like, I don't want to misquote it, was it like 30% of 40% of startups and entrepreneurs are immigrants. And we have so many of them who have such interesting projects going on in the community, probably some familiar faces to you. So he will be hosting that panel. Then we'll be launching the ARIC Makerspace, which will be very exciting and a great complement to our existing Makerspace at Exploration Commons. And then we will also be hosting our, I believe these are quarterly, the Westminster Angel Network dinners and the Observe Foundation and Ghost Cart kickoffs.
Can you give us,
Any questions?
yes, can you give us the dates for those grass representatives?
Yes.
For those events.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we brought it like.
Particularly that later one.
That's on Sunday.
Sunday the 14th.
Oh, this
Sunday. Yes,
What time?
12 o'clock.
12:30.
I think it starts at 12:30. Yes.
That's an hour.
Stumble by, so we're gonna have a full house.
So you are leggings.
Yes, we will also be doing a VEX robotics demonstration as well, so my VEX kids will be there. They'll be there.
Any other questions from Ms. Lincoln?
What time is that again?
12.
Oh, Mr. President,
Mr. Dayhoff.
I'd love to see some of the news. I'll stop by the store maybe, Ms. Graham, any of them that have a nexus with the city of Westminster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shares digital copies with all of the board members, so we can get those to you.
Well, I'd love that, I'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a guy that rates for it.
No, it would be nice to see, for us to see this as well. 'Cause
Yeah, I'd like.
It demonstrates to us that,
Yeah, I'd really like to exercise it with it.
Great, thank you, that's a great point. Yeah, we'll plan to do that.
Anyone else? Mayor? No? Great. Supervisor, thanks again. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Thank you so much.
All right. Moving on now. And you're welcome to stay or you're welcome to. I mean, how long will you? Thank you. We have minutes from the meeting of the mayor and council on March 25th, 2024. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
So,
We have a motion by Mr. Dayhoff and a second by Mr. Kavachi. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it, the ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. We have one item on the consent calendar. We have a motion to approve the consent.
Motion to approve.
I'll
Motion by Mr. Dayhoff and a second by Mr. Hoff. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it, the ayes have it. Consent calendar stands approved. Report from the mayor, Mayor Becker.
Great, thank you, Mr. President. So I have a few things to report on over the last 2 weeks. Thursday, March 28th, I attended the Magic Board meeting as the city representative. We just heard Ms. Slakeman's report. The board meetings are very informative, much like her presentation this evening, but also talks a bit about their planned growth for over the next several years. And I reminded them that, when Ms. Slakeman or when Mr. Graham presented at the last meeting, presented at the last meeting how, we had mentioned that, Magic has grown quite a bit from its early inception. And so one of the things that I would like to do, we talked about the ARC facility, is to check that out in town if you haven't been there, their facility for autonomous robotics, when you get the chance. Also, on March 28th, I gave a presentation on public speaking for a class of students at the ARC of Carroll County. The students are part of the DOORS program, which helps students with the transition from high school to post-high school plans. We had a great time. We had about a 45-minute discussion about public speaking, why is it important? What are you scared of when you talk in public, and how can you overcome those fears? On Wednesday, April 3rd, I spoke at the Board of Public Works in Annapolis on behalf of the city for our fiber funding request. I was welcomed warmly by Lieutenant Governor Miller and Comptroller Learman. Comments were well received, and the comptroller and I were able to have some really great discussion while I was still at the podium about the benefits of fiber in Westminster, and really focused on Westminster leading the way in the Mid-Atlantic region with our fiber network, city-owned fiber network. On Saturday, one of the fun perks of being the mayor, I was a celebrity judge for Covalent's March Madness cocktail competition. Scott won with his cocktail. It was, I think it'll be featured this month, coming up here. Lastly, I hope everyone enjoyed the eclipse today. If they were able to watch safely and with glasses, there won't be another one in the lower 48 states for 20 years.
I'm looking forward to that.
And then finally, we do have a lot of things coming up. Just one thing quickly. In 2 days, we have the Main Street Mile. I'm sure someone might mention that a little bit later this evening. So be prepared for some street closures and detours Wednesday evening downtown from about, I think, 5 to 8 or 5:30 to 8. Main Street will be a little detour for the Main Street Mile. And that's all this has.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Becker. Move on to reports from the committees. Mr. Dayhoff, would you like to share anything from the Arts Council?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. Now that the peep show has ended, every year at this time of the year, the executive director and I put together as many economic statistics. We're both very data driven about the Arts Council, and we try to put together as many interesting economic statistics as possible about the Arts Council. The 17th annual Carroll Arts Center Peep Show has ended, and post-pandemic Arts Council is recovering extremely well. So during the month of March, the 17th annual Peep Show saw 17,291 visitors, including people who came specifically to the Peep Show from California, Texas, North Carolina, Florida, Vermont, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, DC, West Virginia, and New Jersey. So for FY24, we are on track to bring more than 46,000 visitors to Westminster and Carroll County. So far, we have, this fiscal year, we've hosted at the Arts Council visitors from 311 unique zip codes and 11 other states. And these figures don't include all the unique zip codes and the other states that came for the Peep Show. In fiscal year 2023, our total investment in free programming for children and families was $63,000. This includes free field trips to the Carroll Arts Center for the Carroll County Public Schools, the ARC and Target, and free in-school performances and visiting artists to Carroll County Public School Title I schools. In fiscal year 2024, we will award nearly $100,000 in grants and scholarships to small arts organizations, nonprofits, municipalities, individuals, and students. The Maryland State Arts Council, which interestingly enough in the state of Maryland is part of the Department of Commerce, estimates that the rate of return on each dollar invested in the arts is 4 to 1. The Carroll Arts Council invests in the community an estimated $6.32 per county resident. Of the 10 largest counties in Maryland, we are second only to Baltimore City in community investment, and that's throughout the entire state. In fiscal year 2024, the Carroll Arts Council has an economic impact of just short of $1.5 million in Carroll County. What is particularly remarkable is that all of this has been accomplished with a small staff of a couple of employees and 174 volunteers donating 2,884 hours. We're really proud of our efficiency and the dedicated volunteers that make all of this happen. And I've really enjoyed that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Grant, and thanks for that thorough report. You know, I've always felt that the city's investment in the Arts Council in terms of purchasing the old Carroll Theater building and leasing to them for just $1 a year is one of the best investments. It creates a tremendous amount of activity. It helps anchor that on Main Street and has provided just a lot of value to our citizens' lives here. So I'm really pleased that you're doing so well. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Economic and Community Development Committee, Mr. Hoff.
Nothing to report tonight, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. On behalf of the Finance Committee, as we've noted in the past, it's budget season. Mr. Rogers isn't with us this evening. I understand he's not feeling well, but we do have a Finance Committee meeting later this week where we'll begin discussing, getting into some detail on the budget. And, looking forward to, once we get to go through that, sharing out all of our colleagues here. I have nothing from the Personnel Committee. Public Safety, Mr. Kalachi.
Thank you, Mr. President. March 28th, police recruits Nicholas E. Kerry Haynes and Lupita Ramirez graduated from the entry-level police academy held at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Recruit Nicholas E. received the Academy Award for Best Performance in the Emergency Vehicle Operation course. So, Madam Mayor, if you ever warrant a driver, I guess he'll be the guy for the job.
He was a former firefighter, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
So he's used to flying around.
Yeah.
Like that.
Did he score higher on the test?
He was the highest in the
Okay.
highest class. For the emergency vehicle operation. All three new police officers began their field training in the patrol bureau. So I'm sure it's nice to have them out on the road doing their training and hopefully on their own soon. On April 4th, the patrol bureau officer served an arrest warrant to Donald Ely based on 13 incidents of theft from auto and or tampering with motor vehicles. Additionally, recovered drug paraphernalia incidents, with theft during the arrest. Part of the reason I think we bring Mr. Ely up is he had just been released from the Carroll County Detention Center following convictions for almost the same exact offenses from 21 and 22. And he has been a frequent flyer for us here in Westminster, committing these type of crimes numerous times. And the police department does a wonderful job arresting him, tracking him down, arresting him. And unfortunately, our justice system just lets him back out and he comes right back into the neighborhood and does it again. So I think the chief's doing all he can along with his folks. It's out of his hands why folks like him just keep coming back and doing the same thing over and over again. That's all I have, Mr.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kalachi. Say I share those sentiments. But I have a question. The community law officers chief. How long would they do their training? How long for their?
The minimum is 280 hours, so we're working 12-hour shifts now, so. And I think we're gonna do, this year, we're extending a few more shifts. We've decided to add on to their normal 280 minimum. And once they get to that point, then they have to meet all the standards required by the training commissions and know their way around, and we need to feel confident that they're ready to go out on the range.
Well, it's good that you have some more people out on the street. Just to relieve the. Right. That's good. Right. Mr. Danoff.
How many officers do we have these? Are we close to?
We currently have 3 vacancies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Public Works, Ms. Gilbert.
So some highlights from the past 2 weeks for the Public Works Department. They repaired 11 storm drain catch basins. The catch basins had loose or missing bricks, which could have led to roadway collapses or traffic hazards if they weren't addressed. So they are now all addressed and taken care of. Seal coated the tennis court at JC Park, I believe in preparation for some pickleball courts. That was done in between all the rain that we had last week. Assisted the utility maintenance and with Distillery Drive water main break, removed a tree from Locust Mall that had split in half at the Y of the tree, thereby creating a threat to public safety with a chance of it falling on something or someone. Started annual mowing, which is a lot, but progress was delayed because of the rather damp conditions. Continued the construction of the community pool snack shack. And that is all for Public Works.
All right, very good. Could you give us a report on recreational park as well?
Sure can. Don't forget the running of the 41st annual Main Street Mile will take place on April 10th at 7 p.m. Still not too late to register. You can register online through race day until 4 p.m. or in person until 6 p.m. at the Westminster Rec and Parks Department. For more information, you can also register or visit the Westminster Roadrunners Club website at wrrclub.com. And if you don't want to run, you can still come by and cheer all the runners on. Following that is the wine stroll, which is just around the corner, scheduled for Saturday, April 20th. This year, you can elevate your wine stroll experience. Sign up for Savor the Sip Wine Pairing. Participants will experience a guided educational tasting of 3 wines and 3 sweets crafted by Ginny Bird Baking Company's pastry chef, Hannah Nall. Bernie Vogel, a local business owner, wine educator, and enthusiast, will host the event. For more information or to register, visit the City of Westminster's website or the Recreation and Parks Facebook page. That's all I have right now.
All right, very good, thank you. The Main Street Mile, Ms. Beavers, how far is Main Street shut down?
So the start line is up at Fair Avenue, which is just beyond Carroll Fuels, and then our finish line is right out in front of the Westminster Library.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
So urge people to be careful once they technology, Mr. Nichols.
I'll defer to the director.
Very good, thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is council comments and discussion. It's an opportunity for council members to share anything they'd like to mention that is not elsewhere on the agenda. Mr. Kavachi.
Good, Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dayhoff.
No reports, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gilbert.
I just have a couple of things. I wanted to remind folks that on April 17th, there will be a public open house meeting from 5 to 7 p.m. at Winters Mill High School regarding the Route 97 corridor and what may or may not be occurring in that location. If anybody's interested or concerned, driving back and forth or live in the area. And tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. is the annual child abuse prevention walk at Dutterer Family. That's all I have.
Good, thank you. Mr. Hoff.
I don't often report about intergovernmental relations, but I thought I'd give a quick little update tonight. Session closes tonight at midnight. The capital budget is, as of yet, has not cleared the floor yet, but it definitely will before the night is through. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank the other members of the committee, the mayor, the council president, myself have all been down to Annapolis numerous times this session, advocating for certain items within the capital budget, and otherwise lobbying on behalf of the city of Westminster. I'm just really pleased. I think we all work really well together to achieve some good results for the city of Westminster. And hopefully before midnight, we'll hear more good news. So thank you.
Very good. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Thank you, Mr. Hoff. All right. Next item on the agenda is ordinances and resolutions. There are no ordinances or resolutions before us this evening. Following that is unfinished business. There's no unfinished business of which I'm aware. Does anybody have any unfinished business? Bring to the council. Hearing none, move on to new business. Is there any new business? Bring to the council. Moving on then, we will go to departmental reports. Mr. Depot, would you like to lead us through those?
Yes, and thank you. Just briefly, the Miracle Mile, what we are providing on the city's webpage under events. We do provide a nice flyer nowadays for all these events that does provide when the event occurs, traffic and community impacts, as well as a nice layout of the path of the actual event itself. So we've been doing this for the last few events, and it's also highlighted as an upcoming event at the very top of the city webpage, if anybody's interested about the Miracle Mile. Or I'm sorry, Main Street Mile. And with that, I'm sorry, let's start with Abby Gruber, the Director of Parks and Rec and Park.
Good evening. This is a very active month for your Recreation and Parks Department. You heard obviously that in partnership with the Westminster Roadrunners Club, we assist with the Main Street Mile on Wednesday evening. Right before I came over here, I checked in at Packet Pickup. We have 444 registered participants, so it should be a big field of runners. We continue to take registrations, and I would expect that will be close to 600 people by the time Wednesday night rolls around. So it's a great, fun night for the city. A lot of the business owners come out and watch the racers finish, and then everyone is invited back to the Westminster Family Fitness Center at the conclusion of the run for delicious ice cream sandwiches from Hoffman's and an awards ceremony. So certainly if you're not doing anything, we invite you to either run or come out and spectate. It is a great night. We follow Main Street Mile this Friday. We have our monthly adaptive rec event. This is Friday evening, and participants at this event will make their own pizza, and we will have a game night as well. So that will be held in the basement of 45 West Main Street, and Staglio Pizza is assisting us with the pizza dough and all the different toppings that they can select to actually make their own pizzas. It'll be a food truck, yep, a portable pizza oven and food truck, and it'll be parked in a parking lot, so, yeah. Obviously, the wine stroll is coming up on April 20th, so we hope that everyone is considering joining us for the wine stroll. To follow that, we have our Get Wild at Wakefield event on April 26th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. And this is a kickoff party to celebrate the City Nature Challenge. The City Nature Challenge is a 4-day event where we encourage people to make observations in nature and upload them to an app. And it's actually a global-wide competition. And thanks to the efforts of many Carroll Countyans, we moved ourselves up in the standings last year, and we hope to do that again this year. So our kickoff party will have entertainment, crafts, free snowballs, all kinds of fun stuff going on for families. And then in addition to that, we'll teach you how to use the iNaturalist app to make the observations over the 4 days that the challenge exists. And one last update, our summer camp program is, all of our weeks are almost full. Weeks 4 through 10 are full with waiting list. Camp week 1, we only have 6 spots left. Camp week 2, we only have 7 spots left. And camp week 3, we have 25 spots left, but that's the 4th of July week, and it's a short week for our campers. And then the final week of camp, week 11, we only have 3 spots left. And this is, we accept 70 children per week into our summer camp program, just to put that into context. And that concludes my report, unless anyone has questions.
A wider range of activities and more activities than per pound than any community.
Mr. President,
Mr. Dale.
could we hear more about the adaptive event? Madam Mayor, you've called it out, yes.
I've gone to, not the game night, this is a new, these are new, the monthly ones. I've gone to the winter formal, the winter ball.
But it's Friday night.
Yes.
I teach therapeutic riding. Friday. Well, what time is it on Friday?
5:30 to 7:30.
I can help Caroline with the horses.
Any other questions for Ms. Gruber? Seeing none, let's move on to Rick Moore in the IT department.
Thank you, Mr. Depot. In addition to the normal day-to-day things we've been working on, I know you've all received a couple of emails about some security things we've been working on behind the scenes. We've been busy gathering information, update documentation for the finance team with Ms. Impulse for our budget, get that finalized for us. The only thing I'll say is, we got a number of reports today, the sun was not performing well. It looks like it has rebooted, we're monitoring it, but so far it looks okay, so. Sorry, couldn't resist. That's all I have, is you folks.
Any questions for Mr. Moore?
Mr. President. Mr. Gay. How are we doing with Park Mobile?
So far, we've seen a little over 650 users so far since we've launched.
Great. And I'm getting a lot of really good feedback. I really appreciate all the work. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not seeing any. Let's move to Mr. Brown and the Department of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Depot. Good evening. Couple of things. From housing, the housing choice voucher program, as you may recall, we closed our waiting list some months ago. Currently, there are 646 applicants on the waiting list. We're currently administering 14 vouchers on behalf of the county. That's down almost half from what it had been several months ago. And there were 289 vouchers under lease as of March the 31st. In terms of code enforcement, the most salient issues for code enforcement have been trash. And that's been in terms of citizens putting out their trash several days prior to the scheduled pickup or sometime after the trash has been picked up. In those cases where we find that as part of the normal patrol, or we get call-in complaints, notice of violations have been sent out in these particular instances where we've been able to confirm that. The other issue is trees, and particularly tree branches and limbs that have fallen because of wind or rain, or that are in imminent danger of falling onto a house or a fence of a neighbor. So that's my report, Mr. Depot, Mayor and Council. I'll be happy to entertain any questions that anyone may have.
Any questions for Mr. Brown?
Yes, Mr. Depot, Mr. Brown, you said that we're administering less county vouchers than we used to. Is that because they've now turned to city vouchers, or is there a plan to up the amount of county vouchers that we used to?
They're a combination of things. One is that I think we had started earlier in turning them into our own program and returning the vouchers back to the county. Another factor has been the county changed its policy where it requires their participants to stay in the county at least a year before they can port to another jurisdiction. Prior to that policy change, they could just port anytime, and the majority of them were coming over to the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Not seeing any. Let's move to Chief Ledwell in the Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I plan to be at the Child Abuse Prevention Walk tomorrow, so let's see at Veterans Park. Also on April the 18th, the Care Healing Center is holding their inaugural candlelight vigil at Belgrove Square Park. I believe it begins at 5:30. It's called Lighting the Way for Survivors Vigil under the former Rape Crisis Services. So they're holding that event. And then on April 24th is our annual awards ceremony, just a reminder about that. We're also working on 2 grant applications through the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention. One is under the Police Accountability and Community Transparency grant. We're going to ask for the remainder of our body worn camera to let everybody equipped and have some spares prior to the July 1, 2025 deadline. So we're hoping to have some success with that. We did have success in prior fiscal years to get the majority of our program funded through the same grant that was offered in the prior fiscal years. And then we're also applying under the police recruitment and retention grant for some different strategic initiatives that will help support those efforts. And that's all that I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions for the chief? Not seeing any. So moving on to Department of Community Planning and Development. On April 3rd, the Historic District Commission reviewed the demolition permit for 30 Carroll Street, the Shepherd staff. And they accepted the architectural documentation provided by Shepherd staff. The next step for them is to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals for special exception approval. Use itself as a special exception use. They reviewed architectural elevations for a new 2-story garage at 99 Ralph Street. No issues with that, with those architectural elevations. They discussed the renaming of a portion of Criders Church Road. This is as part of the K-9 Buddy development. The portion of Criders Church extending from 97 West will remain Criders Church. The proposal is the north-south segment. Criders Church kind of tees into it. So the north-south segment, where there is no development yet, no addresses off this portion of Criders Church. They're proposing the developer to rename, and they offered 3 names. One is Fritch Farm Road, the other one is Emmert Farm Road, and the other one is Swigert Roberts Road. The reasoning primarily is because of the K-9 Buddy itself, the amount of traffic proposed for the event facility. There's concern that the left-hand turn off of 97 onto Criders Church, which is already a failing left turn. By renaming that section of the roadway, the hope is that, and working with Waze and Google Maps and other services, that people will go up to the light, the Meadow Branch, and extend over and come down to the site. So there's a purpose to it. It's not going to change the address or the name for the businesses on Criders Church, such as the church and the cemetery. They'll still maintain that road name and that address. So again, this is a discussion right now. It's not set. Obviously, will come for, my guess is the ECDC for a review of the names as well, and if need be, before the Mayor and Common Council, before we actually finally come up with a resolution or determination what we want to name the roadway. So,
I'm sorry about that.
they discussed drafting the proclamation for the nation's 250th anniversary. We're working with Carroll County on that as well. They have a proclamation or resolution with the county. So we are working together with Carroll County on this 250th anniversary. On April 18th, the Planning and Zoning Commission is tentatively scheduled to hold a public hearing on Resolution 2402. This is annexation 79 for 411 Malcolm Drive. This was introduced to the Mayor and Common Council on February the 12th of 2024. And also review site plan S23-9. This is to reconstruct the Harvey Stone Pavilion at McDaniel College, pave existing gravel driveways and parking for handicap spaces. This is just north of Preston Field, adjacent to the golf course. And for the 34th year, the city of Westminster has been recognized as a Tree City USA. So you'll see signage being changed from 33 years to 34 years as you're coming into the city. On Monday, April the 22nd is the beginning of Arbor Week, and we will have a planting at Dutterer Park at 12 p.m. And then on April the 26th, there'll be a nature event hosted by the City of Westminster Rec and Park Department at Wakefield Valley from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and a second tree planting to take place at 4:15 p.m. Separate from the Arbor Day celebration, the Downtown Business Association is coordinating the Downtown Westminster Cleanup event for Saturday, April 27th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is a volunteer program. We're working with the Streets Department to provide trash bags, gloves, and other equipment. So again, volunteer. This is the first of its kind. So hopefully it's a continuation of The downtown.
It's not the first of its kind.
The downtown
Steve Chapin and I,
Okay.
this many years ago, we started this back in my early council. We did a downtown cleanup and we would throw.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Glad to see it being revised.
So it's being revised.
So, are you done?
I'm done with our report, yes.
All right, yeah, I just mentioned something about the cleanup, Mr. Depot. So there is a friendly competition going on between municipalities in Carroll County regarding the spring cleanup. So almost all municipalities in Carroll County are doing a spring cleanup in their municipalities on either the 20th or the 27th. Bragging rights, and there's some talk of prizes, I don't know what prizes would be. The metrics, well, I had said amount of trash, number of volunteers, and most unusual object. I argue that we're picking up the most trash in your city, that means your municipality is dirty. But, that was.
But some
Yeah,
municipalities
so-
are bigger than others.
That is true. So we should win that handily,
No, we shouldn't.
so.
Street department does a great job.
Well, right, no, well, that is one of the issues, I think, when I was talking to Melissa, Miss Thorne, and she was like, the streets are so clean, we went out to like look for places to pick up trash in advance and.
Try to duck on.
It's in the county.
It's in the county.
Yeah.
I recommended a week
You can suggest-
before the wine stroll. I would figure we'd have a lot of trash bags out for that, but that's,
Yeah,
I was told that was not fair.
I stashed some in the back, maybe we can ask streets department about the theme for a week. Anyway, but I will be rounding up volunteers on the 27th.
Any other questions for me?
Mr. President.
Yeah. His report has so many dates in it, and Ms. Gruber's report has so many dates in it.
I was thinking
Could we possibly get this in? I'd really appreciate it.
Mr. Barber, can we task you with trying to collect all these data up for us? Sure. Thank you.
I'm sure they'll be cooperative. Thank you.
Thank
I've been asking for it for a long time. Thank you.
Any other questions? That completes departmental reports.
Very good. All right, thank you. So that concludes, I think, last item, yes. So that concludes most of our agenda. The final item on our agenda is citizen comments, where we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issue that pertains to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. For citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send us your comments or concerns via email at comments@westminstermd.gov. All comments received by email will be shared with the mayor and council. Commenters should include their address and phone number with their email comments. We'll now invite comments from anyone who is present this evening. Is there anyone with us tonight who wishes to be heard? If so, please give us your name and address for the record.
I'll give you one. John Hobart, 160 Lincoln Road here in town. Wanted to just say, y'all usually hear folks catching about something, so wanna give you some good jobs. I often walk around town of an evening, and I've gotta say, the new crosswalks, the illumination, it gets right on there. You hit the button and it just lights up, people stop, it's great. Love it. I'll give a related food for thought on lights. Any chance that we could study getting some shields for some of the street lights to direct downwards? I don't know if anybody else has a house with more than one story, but my wife and I have the bad fortune to have LEDs that just shine right in from the street light into all of the windows on the second floor of our house. And while the one on our street is going purple, which I love, leave the purple. I love the purple.
Love it.
Any way we could get like looking at shields or something to just kind of direct the light down rather than kind of out at 30, 40 feet above the street or however high they are.
To give your address to Mr. Depot, he can look into that.
I missed that, 160.
That's
160 Lincoln, it's the intersection of Lincoln and George.
Thank you.
and
Thank you very much.
Oh, I love the purple ones. They're so good. You got the one by the cemetery, that great sentiment.
our streets commissioner has been so upset that he doesn't feel that enough people are activating the crosswalks.
They're
So
great.
I'm gonna love that you said what you said.
No, they're actually great. Even in the morning when you activate them, you're like, the speaker comes on and people actually see the lights and they stop.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, hearing no other comments, then that concludes our agenda and the meeting. Hope everybody enjoyed the Eclipse event. I don't see anybody blinking, so I guess everybody will. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, April 22nd, and with that, without objection, we are adjourned.